Today's conversation is sponsored by the Billy Keels Advisory Program. If you want to learn more about how to make your 9 to 5 optional, just go to billykeels.com/advising. Once again, that's billykeels.com/advising. You're a devoted mid-six-figure executive who becomes a parent. Now what? Yep, it happens to each and every one of us. Happened to me. And as you're someone who is continuing to move up the corporate ladder, this has been one of your purposes in life is to continue to move, to be promotable, to be reliable, to be the go-to person. And you've dedicated so much time and energy as well as effort into doing that. And life is getting ready to get really interesting because as you go from executive with no children to executive with a child, you becoming a parent, life starts to change. And the inspiration for this episode actually comes from not a number of conversations, but one in particular had with a mid-six-figure, really strong, probably on the right hand side of mid-six-figure, so just above six-figure, mid-six-figure executives talking about becoming a parent, some of the different things that were happening, changing in this person's life, and wanted to understand like now what? Like what were the things that started to change? And in particular, we were talking about looking for advisory, coaching, as he called it, and trying to figure a couple of things out. And so I just wanted to give some insight because if you have experienced this is one of the things you're going to recognize. If you are on the cusp of becoming a parent, you can use this episode to prepare yourself for what's coming next. You can do some pre-work because many times you find yourself that, oh, wow, you know what? Maybe you got married, maybe you didn't. And now you are a parent. And so before where you dedicated all of this time, energy, and effort to your role when you weren't taking care of yourself. Now you've got this responsibility. And so things tend to change. And there's going to be an impact not only in your personal life, also that is going to roll into your work life more than likely. And so as we started talking about this, I thought it was really interesting. And of course, I always like to kind of figure out kind of what else is happening. So I've looked up some survey data, and there was a survey by a company called Balance Executives, and they looked at research based on employees for Fortune 1000 companies. And like 60% of these people were between 40 and 49. And let's say there were people that were also in this category that were well over $200,000 per year that had engaged in coaching for 6 months to a year. Not specifically what type, but just to give you an idea. This is a profile. And this is very similar to the person that I was speaking to in one of our discovery calls. And what I found interesting is through the conversation, and you may find that this is the case. I know at a certain point, it became my case, although I was looking for something to help to make my 9 to 5 optional. There is also, you may decide that you really like corporate and you don't want to do anything other than corporate. One way or the other, it's great to have someone's perspective and inside out. And why? Let me give you an example. Because when you become a parent and you are focused on your day job, you are so focused on helping everybody else to be the best version of themselves and working with them, pushing them to be the best version of who they are so that they can get the maximum productivity for the company that you're working for. That's one of the things that is inspirational because you're helping other people. But then, and this is what we were talking about in the conversation, well, what happens when you need someone to turn to? Like, who do you turn to? Especially when it has to do with work-related topics. If you don't have anyone in the office and you're already sitting at the top of the food chain in your organization or near the top of your food chain in your organization, this person happened to be very close to the top of the food chain because you're picking up other people all day long. Who's there to pick you up? Right. And so one of the things that happens is you realize that you want to be the best version of yourself, especially when you go home, now that you're a parent, now that you know that there are another set of eyes that are watching you, emulating everything that you do. Even when you don't realize they're watching you, your children, they're constantly watching you. They're learning from what you do, what you say, and how you act. But the thing is, you don't want to bring any of the work issues home. And you realize that even if you did talk to your kids can help you solve the problems. They don't know the issues. And many times your significant other, your spouse, your partner also doesn't. And they usually don't want to hear about what's going on at the office because that's the thing that's taking you away from them most of the time. But the thing is when you go from recognizing that there are a number of symptoms and you actually want to be and dig into the specific problem, well, you start realizing that when you have the ability to have coaching, to have someone hold the mirror up in front of you, to have someone who's in an advisory capacity, they can play that coach and they have enough of the relevant experience where they can also help you to construct what the future looks like, right? And that is how do you construct how your life is designed so that both your work and your professional and your personal life have the ability to be fluid so that you don't feel the stress at the end of the day over one or the other, or you can minimize the stress is probably the better way to state it. Recognize what's happening and minimize the stress. So I just want to come back to that survey that I was talking to you about, because this is one of the things that I think is really interesting, especially when you start looking at investing in yourself. Because a lot of times, well, you want to invest in yourself, or you're looking for your company to do it, or you may want to do it. But I'll tell you that this survey in particular, and this was looking more about career development, talked about this person that would go through 6 months to a year of coaching and having someone help them be the mirror outside of their organization. The coachees, the people that received this investment in themselves, recognized that they were able to improve their job satisfaction. It went up because the employer showed that they were interested, or the person understood that they were more interested. They had a 52% reduction in the conflict that was happening within the organization, and even had 77% improved working relationships with direct reports. Now that was on the side of the person that received it. Now think about your company. So the company started to also perceive from the same group of people, the same group of survey, that they started to see a 53% improvement in the productivity of the employees. I know that when I invested in myself, and I did it myself, I didn't ask my company to do it. I did it myself because I was looking to do something outside of the company. I know that my productivity increased in the company because I started to put systems in place that allowed me to do that, to help me to do that. Also, there was a higher retention, 32% retention in the number of executives who received this coaching and made this investment, that received this investment. And so there's one of the things that, and the reason I say this, both from the person that received it as well as the organization that they were a part of or going into today, and whether that's your organization or it's your own job, there should always be multiple benefits to you making an investment in yourself, which is what we talked about when we talk about you, especially when you are someone who is a mid-six-figure executive who becomes a parent, because you want to receive so that you can later give, and it becomes a win-win for everyone. So as you start to also look for others to solve your issues, if your company's not willing to do it, well, you're a mid-six-figure devoted mid-six-figure executive. You more than likely have capital that's just sitting in the bank. And if it's just sitting there, it's stagnant. I know we've talked about this before. And if it's stagnant, then it's not doing anything. What's the best investment that you can make? Well, it's in yourself, because you know that you're going to do the work. You know that you're going to get your challenges resolved. You're going to overcome them. That's what you've done your entire life, your entire career. So why would it be any different now? Right? The idea is to be able to understand that you don't want to bring any of the issues that arise with a role. In the role, you have a role because you're there to resolve issues all day, every day. And life changes. The dynamic starts to change when you don't give 100% of your effort just to your job and your personal life. When you have another person, and a baby who is responsible, who you're not responsible for, that's you want to be clear-headed. You want to be focused. You want to be able to invest your time appropriately. So now what? Well, now is the moment where you start to look at how are you implementing the usage of your time. Are you there? You're with your child, but you're distracted because you're on your phone. Are you on your computer? No, you don't want to do that. Trust me, I've been there, done that. Don't want that for you. And when you start realizing what the impact is, it really, 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 especially when you have someone who is on the outside helping you to see that, you have an amazing opportunity to be able to utilize your time, block your time, use it in the best possible way. And so when you recognize the issue, you can find the solution. And when you have someone on the outside, you're able to see it even faster. And you can put the solution into place even sooner. And so when I typically, as this one particular conversation, as I thought about it, it was really about, okay, well, why were you deciding to invest in yourself? Well, it was because the dynamic started to change. The feeling started to change because it was no longer just about the executive. It was about the executive now being a parent and what that meant, and the energy that the parent wanted to bring to the relationship, specifically with the children, example that you want to be, and having the option of having an inside out, having someone, a third party, to help you navigate through that, your personal as well as your professional life, and being able to do that in a way that is high touch and very private. This is definitely one of the things that devoted mid-six-figure executives that become parents that you look to do, is make the investment in yourself so that you are constantly at the top of your game. I know it's something that I did. Like I said, I did it outside of an organization. These are also options when you want to be an even better employee and navigate the personal and the professional so that you can get the most out of your work opportunity. You're designing your life so that you also are finding what you need to get out of the life's purpose in your personal life as well. So I'll leave that with you there, because why? Because now what? Well, now it's time for you to continue to take action. The situation has changed. Your context has changed. So now find a new solution. Look for that third party. Look for somebody who can give you that inside out so that you can continue to be the best version of you. I know that I did it. I know that I'm helping other people do that today. And if this sounds like something that you are interested in, you want to know more about, we make it really easy here for you. You can click a link, find out. You and I can get on a call. We can have a chat, because what you're now embarking on in parenthood, this is the time that you never, ever, ever get back. And if you need and want a guide to help you along the way, we'll make it really easy for you. So, and if you know somebody that this episode could be useful for or useful to, share it with them, send it over to them. I'd appreciate it. I know they would appreciate it. And then you are also the person that's helping them to make the change. So while you take action and take that action, I'll be here preparing for the very next episode. So until then, I want you to go out and make it a great day. And I want to say thank you very, very much. Freedom! Today's conversation was sponsored by the Billy Keels Advisory Program. If you're looking to make your 9-to-5 optional and need some help, just go to billykeels.com/advising. Once again, that's billykeels.com/advising.